We are the Lab Doctors. I'm Amanda.
I'm Dorothy.
And I'm Zhao Yong.
We are biomedical researchers who realized we still have a lot to learn about science.
So why not join us on this quest?
On this bonus episode of Today We Learn, we will be talking about swimming and what happens when we swim. Just to remind you, there are two parts in Today We Learn episodes. The first, where we try and figure out answers to questions we have with our current knowledge. For the second part, we come back together to discuss what we found out. Just a disclaimer, the audio for this episode may not be as crisp as usual because we recorded this way beforehand, so just bear with us. So today we're going to talk about swimming. We were discussing it a few days ago and wondering to ourselves, what happens when we swim and why does it happen?
Like why our fingers get wrinkly and our toes get wrinkly.
Yeah.
When we bathe also, I guess, in water.
Yeah, I guess if you take a bath that is too long, then your fingers get wrinkly. So basically, why do our fingers?
Why do our fingers get wrinkly?
Yeah.
Like from what I know, it's like an evolutionarily conserved kind of thing. I don't remember, I read it like in a storybook or something, but it's like your skin apparently like absorbs the water and then it will like try to increase the amount of surface area your skin has so that you can grip better in like water.
But how fast does it usually happen? Because
20 minutes.
20 minutes.
Like sometimes I bathe damn long and it's like 20 minutes
For
and my
20
fingers
minutes.
are
Don't you have to be like submerged for 20 minutes?
the water's running for 20 minutes.
My goodness! The world is dying.
But at least now we know it's
The earth is dying.
At least now we know it's 20 minutes.
I think it's a good gauge.
For the sake of science,
Yeah.
this was a good.
Okay, I'll off my from now on.
Wait, so, wrinkly fingers because it increases the surface areas because there's ridges in your fingers, right?
Yeah.
That's how it increases surface area.
Yeah.
Wait, so
something like that.
it's for grip strength
Grip.
underwater?
In water.
But what are we gripping? It's because we're like not holding on to anything. That's why our body's like, I need to grip something. Is it?
No, it's like your sandals have grooves, right? So your fingers need to make those grooves so that you can have
No, it's
better
like,
grip. Like
why
in the
does my
rain or
body want to
something.
do that though?
It's evolution.
But so aren't the grips just the ridges from your fingerprints, right? It's like
No, it's not.
No.
It's random.
You mean your
Random?
fingerprints get swollen then like...
yeah, I think so, isn't it?
No, it's not.
No, it's just random
It's like
wrinkly
sometimes it's
lines.
like vertical
Is it random?
lines.
Vertical lines, yes.
Yes, it's vertical lines. Why is it vertical lines? Have you
Because you
ever?
have vertical lines in your fingers.
No, but the you know the circle thing. What's it called? Whorls.
Whorls.
Yeah,
Whorls.
like there are
ridges.
horizontal parts of that. So how come?
I don't know. That's why we're asking this question.
I guess that's what we want to find out. So, evolutionarily,
Yeah,
like.
I think evolutionarily is definitely part of the reason.
But is it harmful is my question. Like, at what point does it become bad for you?
When it starts rotting, like when it starts becoming white, you know, like when you put the plaster.
Yeah.
Oh, ew,
and then it
yes,
becomes
yes.
white and wrinkly. I think that's not good.
Wait, so the water from the environment goes into your skin
Yeah, your
and
skin
causes it
is
to
So my
swell.
skin is sensing.
Your skin is
That-
waterproof, yet it is absorbent.
So at what point does it stop going into you?
Or like at one point, does my body say enough?
How does it decide when it's enough? Or is it just like an equilibrium thing? So if I put my fingers into salt water, does that happen?
It should, right? Doesn't water have like?
Salt water means what? Means the concentration gradient is higher,
Or like
right?
or like saline, like
Like
water.
water.
Yeah.
No,
as
but
in
saline
water
is
that
like buffered, I guess. Is it buffered?
yeah, it's like similar to our
Body.
the fluids and
Oh.
the space outside the cells, right?
Yeah.
So-
So does water like get
Yeah.
in? What does chlorine do to like swimming pools then?
It just sterilizes.
No, I mean like Ew. We're not there yet. Oh my goodness. As in like what does it do to like I'm assuming this is osmolarity,
Yeah.
right?
That's why, because if it enters because of osmosis, right, which is when water enters, like water moves from a region of higher concentration of water to a region of
Osmolarity,
Yes.
right?
yeah.
I don't know what happens. Like, I've never soaked myself in saline, I guess. That's why I'm asking, what does chlorine do? Does it make it higher osmolarity or lower?
Doesn't it make... Okay, so it makes the water potential more negative. Because pure water is at 0 water potential.
What's water potential in the scheme of osmolarity?
I'm so confused.
This is physics. We are
Oh.
biologists.
So let's...
As you can see, we are kind of dumb as well. So, yeah, and okay, like, how does our body know to, like, why doesn't the rest of our body get wrinkly? Like our face.
Oh,
How
right.
come our face doesn't have, like, the pruny, like, ness that our fingers have?
So we only know like our toes and our fingers.
And it's
It's
like...
because we don't have a face print.
do we have toe prints? Do we have?
We have toe
We
prints!
have toe prints. Oh my goodness.
I'm so tempted to take off my shoes right now.
We have toe prints.
So, is the whorls
I'm thinking
the prunes?
it's the thickness of the skin. Oh wait, no. Other than that, also it's just evolutionarily you need like these are the touch points.
I mean,
Yeah.
if we're going by evolution,
Then
then...
these are the touch points.
Yeah,
But, like,
it's like where I would grip.
but I also think it's the thickness of your skin. Do you think so? Like,
So like, at our fingers, it's thicker.
thinner, then the
Thinner.
water can go through. Is our finger thinner?
Oh.
But then if I go by that, then your ears will get wrinkly. I'm pretty sure the skin in your ears are thin.
No idea the thickness of... I know the skin is the largest organ in the human body.
Wow, great. Fun fact.
Jinx.
Don't know about the thickness of the skin at various areas.
Yeah. So it could be the thickness that like regulates what gets pruny and what doesn't.
I think it's because there's no face print.
I mean, if we're all in on your theory.
Okay, then why is it that like forensic scientists look for finger... Like, why is there
because
no such thing as a face print?
Because fingerprints are unique.
So are you saying face prints can't be unique? If face prints even exist, I don't think face
And then
prints
they will
exist.
draw up the face. It's like a different
Yeah, but what if
category
like
of
I smack my face against a wall and then like they dust the wall and they see a face print?
things. I guess it would help.
Yeah.
Like how big your face is.
Yeah, like
How deep
where
the
your
nose?
eyes
Yeah,
are.
but there are no like ridges and like all the... I can't remember the term. But
Are
like,
our
grooves and
fingers
ridges.
and toes the only places that has the ridges? Whorls?
I feel like when you just look at the upper arm a bit,
Mm-hmm.
there isn't really anything already. It's only
Yeah.
when it gets closer to
Holy
the
crap.
fingers that they all start appearing.
Maybe, possibly.
Things we can find out. Things we will find out.
We will try to
Yes.
find out.
Hopefully,
I don't know if there are
someone has
answers
written
to-
a research paper. Yes. Going back to osmolarity, why do we pee in pools? Did you guys know that people pee in pools? Because that's kind of disgusting, and if I knew that,
Always empty your bladders before you pee.
Yes.
Before you swim, not
don't
pee.
pee in the pool. But
just
can
a
we help
children-
it?
Yes, it's just a children's thing.
No, I think it's a... As in, so it is a like I've read about this before, and it's a physiological reflex.
Really?
So yeah, but I think for adults it's like slightly, I guess, more frowned upon because
we
we
have
should
better
be able to
control
control like
of
know
our
when,
sphincters.
Yeah,
Sphincter muscle, which is sphincter muscle?
Isn't it?
It's a,
Of
it's
the
a type
bladder?
of sphincter.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a
Okay.
sphincter.
Just-
What's a
just-
sphincter?
It's
It's like a valve, basically, that is controlled by
So it's
muscles.
a stopper. Yeah.
Yes.
But so yeah, physiologically, when we go into pools, which tend to be of a lower temperature than our body temperature, our blood vessels constrict or they become smaller in a sense, so they can accommodate less volume. And so there's less, there's more blood plasma that is going towards the core of our body, and
To keep it warm.
yeah, to ensure that, heat doesn't get lost to the surroundings as quickly. And when that happens, our blood volume increases because there's less area for blood to go about in our bodies. And so the only way for us to keep, the volume of blood in our body consistent is to expel it. And that's why.
Blood volume increase.
Oh,
Yeah,
Isn't
as
the
in,
volume is...
the volume is the same, but the area that it can go
So
to.
isn't it pressure?
So yeah, it's all about blood pressure and how to regulate blood pressure, because because when we are talking about blood pressure, it's including like blood volume versus
Space area.
Yeah.
yeah.
So when you look at that, when there's less space, there's in a sense more volume and higher blood pressure to To regulate blood pressure, we have to expel water from
That
the
makes sense because every time I feel cold, I always feel like peeing.
peeing.
Like,
Ah.
always. So,
In cold country.
Yeah. And if you all realize, if you sit down for a very long period of time and you suddenly stand up, sometimes you might also get the urge to pee. But that's because your blood pressure suddenly increases and
I
they
didn't
need to
realize,
increase.
but I guess I will realize from now on.
but that makes so much sense because like, if it's temperature, so it's temperature that is making us humans pee in pool, right?
Yeah. So actually it's a very natural physiological response. If it's happening to you, it's like normal. But yeah, don't pee in pools.
So if you're a parent, don't scold your child if they pee in the pool.
I feel like we should train them.
You should still treat them. Because like
Pools are communal areas unless you have your own pool.
yeah, as in there's
Okay, fine.
That's what the chlorine is.
there is chlorine. And technically pee is sterile.
Oh, right. Pee
Yeah.
sterile.
Doesn't make it any less gross, but if it happens, it happens.
Okay, so my question is, if pee can come out of your orifice, ew, that's such a. Anyway, let's glide over
holes.
that. I said that the holes in your body is making it worse. How come the water doesn't go into your ears? That's a hole in your body, right?
Oh, and same for the nose.
Yeah. Why doesn't
And your mouth, when you open it,
yeah?
water doesn't immediately go in
Why
unless
doesn't
you
it flood
breathe.
in?
There's
And
pressure
From what? The air in your lungs, in your
in my lungs, but the
Oh,
ears
orifices.
are...
let's
What's
not say orifices.
orifices?
Holes.
holes. I mean,
Okay,
yeah.
holes.
New word, everyone.
How to
Orifice.
spell? How to spell?
ORIFICE.
Yeah.
Plural is with the S. I
Yeah.
mean, yeah.
Okay.
It just means holes. We are
Okay.
pretentious scientists sometimes. Anyway, back to why doesn't our ears get flooded or our nose, or like why don't I suffocate from water overload?
Pressure. I guess the nose and the mouth is like from the lungs, right? Maybe.
That's
Maybe.
the air in the stomach. There is, right?
No, but your mouth is also connected to your lungs, what?
Yeah. But is it all just from the lungs? Like, it's because
Ah,
there's air that is
Right.
not being...
I'm pretty sure there's gas. I mean, there's gas in your stomach.
Yeah, but so it's the air that isn't getting displaced because there's nowhere for it to go. That's why water can't go in, right?
As in...
Is that what happens?
Just...
Are we trying to figure it out right now?
I have no idea.
Neither do I. I
I'm
always
just
thought, like,
throwing things
every time
out there.
people say, like, why doesn't my ears get flooded? I'm like, oh, pressure.
I think it's
But I
pressure.
have no
It's
idea what it
pressure.
means.
Like, why doesn't your body collapse underwater? I mean, your body will collapse under very high pressure when you're very
Yes.
deep. But like just normal swimming, your body doesn't, because your body probably has a higher pressure as compared to
Like a
surroundings. So
tolerance,
same,
right?
yeah, same for your. I mean, whichever part of your body, yeah, including
Yeah.
the holes.
Including holes. So it's like I have a invisible barrier that is like, it's like, yeah, pressure just blocks it. So pressure is my barrier.
No, but I think it's also the fact that there's nowhere for the air to go. You know, it's like how when you take a cup and you invert it and then you just dump it straight into water, you don't like shake it. The air remains inside.
Right.
Yeah, I feel like that's the principle.
Yeah.
Right? It's just that our body has that innate ability to like just keep the air that is inside. Or
As
like,
in it has air sacs inside.
I think it's the whole idea of like, you know, when we are not, it's like why people, I mean morbid, but why people drown is because they end up taking water into their lungs because they're trying to breathe in something. And that's when water enters because we are actively, like in a sense, like creating a vacuum from our like lungs and like sucking the water in, right?
yeah.
So if that's the case, then I think it's just, I mean, the body's natural method of like preventing air from getting out or like stuff from getting in. Does that make sense? I
I'm
have no
convinced.
idea. I have no idea.
We'll check it out.
We'll
But
check it
I
out.
am convinced though. Like speaking of fluids though, do we sweat when we swim? Because
Yes.
it's such a workout.
Yes.
Do I sweat?
Do
Yes.
we sweat?
Yes, we confirm sweat.
Why?
Why? But I'm
You're
underwater.
exercising. I mean, unless you're floating in the water, then okay, maybe not. But like,
So how vigorous? Like, but I don't know when I'm
exercise.
sweating.
That's because like you're just constantly being
Ew.
touched
So
by
not only
water.
is people's urine in the swimming pool, everyone sweat. I'm
That's
swimming
why
in sweat.
Chlorine.
Chlorine, yes.
Wait,
Chlorine is
but
doing.
if that, okay, so I'm thinking like, how do we compensate for sweat? It's like we drink water, right? Because we get thirsty. Do you get thirsty when you swim?
After you swim, yeah?
Yeah.
Do I? I can't
I do.
remember.
I do, yeah.
So
I mean, unless
we
you're
do
floating
sweat.
in the water.
But why? Like how? Okay, what is sweat? Why do we sweat? Okay, we sweat because it's hot, right? I mean, like
It's
Yeah.
thermal regulation.
Thermal
We're trying to
regulation.
get rid of
heat
Excess
produced
heat.
when we're exercising.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
If not, we'll burn.
But the swimming pool is cold, so like my body is in a cold environment. Why do I have to produce sweat?
Exactly.
Oh.
And also, like, going back to the pee, because your blood vessels constrict, right? And for, more excess fluid to reach your extremities or reach your skin,
Yeah.
the blood vessels are usually dilated. So how does the body
So that's how we
control?
lose heat, because there's
Yeah.
more heat like going through, because the blood vessels are
widen.
wider.
Oh, I'm conflicted now.
So do we sweat or do we not sweat? Should we take a vote?
I think we do.
Maybe it's just less because like the water you're swimming in is naturally cooling your body as well.
Yeah.
So you might not need to sweat so much.
Yeah, so that's the thing. So like we only sweat when we start to feel hot, because like one of the things that I was thinking about is like when we jump in, we feel cold, and then like you swim for a while and then suddenly, oh, I'm warm. Is it just my body like getting used to the temperature, or am I like producing heat because I'm swimming? And then I start sweating once I feel warm.
Good question.
I think you're producing heat.
We're definitely producing more heat than if we were,
Floating.
lazing around,
Yeah.
floating at rest.
But eventually, do you feel warm if you float? I guess I've never floated for like an hour or like 20 minutes.
I never like floating.
Yeah,
I feel like
same.
it's just a very Asian thing for us to not enjoy ourselves anywhere. It's like, swimming is for the exercise. We're not there to laze around. We're there to get our bodies
Don't have
fit.
time for rest. No time for leisure.
We'll sleep when we're dead.
Don't say that, we sleep every night, okay?
We do sleep every night, very early.
Yes.
But I feel like, speaking of exercise, if I'm not wrong, Dr. Wong, we have a next topic that is also about swimming as a form of exercise.
Yes. Why is swimming considered better or safer than like
Than
other
normal.
exercises? So like, say for example, I hurt my back, or like I have a back problem. I can't run, right? Because running is bad for the back.
Yeah.
How come swimming is fine?
Yeah.
Any
This one
theories?
seems pretty straightforward though, I think.
Yeah.
It's like the load, right? That's on your back.
Because water has pressure.
Wow. We're so complex.
We're so into the pressure. No, but I'm thinking it is gravity, a bit of physics, right? Because
Oh, we're buoyant. The buoyancy
Yeah,
in
there's
the water.
buoyancy.
Yes.
Buoyancy.
yeah, so there's less pressure on the different parts of it's like we're not directly, as we run, we're jamming our legs onto the ground. There's like a natural resistance from water that we are pushing against, and that's why there's still a form of exercise, because water is denser than air, and that's why it takes more energy to move through water. But but there isn't that. The pressure isn't how do you say, like, focused on any particular spots in our body. It's like distributed.
Right.
I guess that's why it's considered a good workout as
Yeah.
well. Because like running, most of the effort or work is on my legs. Yeah. But swimming, like to stay afloat, to move through the water, every part of my body is working out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm convinced.
And I think it also is like, when you're exercising, I mean, back to the previous point on like, do we sweat? Maybe like, cause, I don't know, maybe some people prefer swimming cause you feel like you are not as tired, because like you cool down much more like easily in the pool as compared to like on land. It's just evaporation from your
especially in
sweat.
tropical climates where it's like summer the whole year round. Yeah.
Sweat just isn't efficient at all.
Yeah, sweat is not efficient at cooling my body down.
I need the aircon
Yeah.
and the fan blasting in my face.
Is that good for us?
I don't
We can
think
say, what is the story about
Chinese
that?
story.
We can figure that out in another podcast.
Yes. Okay, so here are the questions that we need to answer from this podcast. Why do our fingers get pruny, and why doesn't the rest of our body get pruny? Why do we pee in pools? Why doesn't water flood our ears?
Okay, flat.
Lot of holes.
Ew!
Fill the hole.
Feel the-
Fill the orifices.
Okay. Do we sweat in water? And why is swimming the better or safer exercise? Stay tuned! Okay, we're back, and we went home and researched our respective questions, and here are our answers. So the first question is, do our fingers get pruny, and what about the rest of our body?
Okay, so I did this question, and there were mainly like two models of like how our fingers get pruny. Okay, so I'll answer like for our toes and our fingers first, because that's like the most obvious. So one of it is the shrink model and one of it is the swell model. Yes. Hopefully I don't get confused while I explain this. So basically the swell model is what like we, or maybe I previously thought of, which is that water enters our skin. So this is like, there's like natural oils on your skin and stuff. And one article said that like when you are in water for a long period of time, these natural oils get washed off and now your skin is less waterproof than what it is. And so that's why it's like after prolonged contact of water, then your skin gets wrinkly. And contrary to like our estimated 20 minutes, it's actually like 5 minutes. Like that's a commonly known thing. I guess 5 minutes.
Commonly known.
I mean, commonly suggested time period. I guess it's like, cause, I mean, it has to be 5 minutes submerged in water, not like bathing
so
where you're probably
contact,
like not,
yeah.
Okay, so the swell model, yes. So once your natural oils get washed off and then your skin on your hands and feet can absorb more water. And this is contrary again to what I thought, which is like when your fingers and toes have less skin, that's why they absorb more water. It's actually because they have more skin and more dead skin.
Ew.
So like your epidermis has more
space to
dead
collect
skin.
water. Oh.
So the dead skin acts as sponges that absorb the water.
Oh.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
when your epidermis, which is the outermost layer of your skin, swells, it pulls on the live layers of skin beneath it, which is the dermis, and then this will cause like the ridges and the trenches because the live skin below are still attached to fibers that are alive and they won't like they won't be subjected to this swelling effect.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
So that's the swell model. Swell model. And then the shrink model is that actually your fingers get pruny because of your nervous system. So it's not just like the outside environment. So apparently if your nerves are damaged, in some people, your skin won't get wrinkly when it's wet.
Oh.
And so yeah, it's like a sign of your nervous system working properly. And when you're exposed to water for a prolonged period of time, the nervous system signals your blood vessels under the epidermis to narrow, to contract. And this reduces the volume of your fingertips, which causes the skin to fold or cause it to become wrinkly.
Huh.
Oh.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So it has nothing to do with fingerprints at all.
No, obviously not.
So does that mean if I submerge my face long enough in water, it would also...
But there's less dead skin on your face, right?
So the dead skin thing answers the whole, like whether your whole body is repeats. No.
But there would still be dead skin, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I guess
it's just very minimal.
Yeah.
But is that why people say your face swell when you
Drown? Are you gonna
no,
say
wait.
something
I guess when you
morbid?
drown,
Not really.
But it's because of the water.
yeah, that's
that
like
one?
right?
super long exposure
Yeah.
by then.
Interesting.
Yeah, but between these two models, okay, so whether any model is correct, one paper, research paper, actually found that both models are needed to interact with each other to regulate the pruning of the fingers. And so they came up with some experimental algorithms, stuff like that, which I didn't understand. That they concluded that either models would not lead to wrinkles, would not have enough reaction to cause wrinkling, and like both models would then be needed to contribute to the wrinkling of fingers.
Oh.
Yeah.
I feel like most science is like that. Ends up being a combination of different models.
Yeah. And then if we find out more things about these phenomenons, then we just combine more models.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay, so that's why your fingers get pruny when you swim or if you're in the bathtub for too long.
Yeah.
So our next question was, why do we pee in pools?
Yeah, so I think when we did the very first run through, we got it more or less right. It is largely due to, the cold environment and that causing your blood vessels at your extremities to constrict or narrow. And that's why that reduces the amount of blood going to the extremities to prevent heat loss.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but so ultimately it just leads to an increase in blood pressure, And your body will want to remove liquids from your blood vessels to decrease that blood pressure, and that's why it induces the event of peeing.
So we did get it right. Almost
More
right.
or less.
Yeah.
Wow.
Congrats to us. Okay, so our next question is, it sounds so disgusting when I say it. Why doesn't water fill our holes? Or why doesn't water get into our ears and noses while we swim? So we did get it a bit right in saying that it is pressure that kind of blocks the water from getting into our ears and noses. But actually, besides pressure, there's actually a physical barrier for blocking the water from getting into our ears and noses. Okay, so...
Physical barrier?
Yeah, okay.
Like a layer of skin.
An invisible layer, like
I was quite surprised, but when I read it, it kind of makes sense to me anatomically. So, just basic anatomy. So the ear, there are three parts. The external ear, which is your ear canal. So what is exposed to the environment, which stops at the eardrum. So for hearing, the eardrum vibrates and then that is converted to sound and blah, blah, blah. Okay, we'll not go into that. So the eardrum separates the outer ear or the external ear from the middle ear.
Yes.
And then there's the inner ear, which we won't go into because that's too far inside and it doesn't matter anymore in this scenario. Okay, so the eardrum, or the anatomical term is tympanic membrane, if anyone cares. It separates the external ear from the middle ear and acts as a physical barrier. So actually, water does enter your ear canal when you swim, but it just doesn't enter the middle ear because of the eardrum. So generally, after swimming, the water just subsides naturally. Or you can also expel it by, shaking your head or tilting it downwards. However, in some cases, water can remain in your ear, so your external ear after swimming, and the moisture can invite bacterial growth, which leads to infection. Yeah, apparently it's a very common phenomenon called swimmer's ear. I recommend you not to Google it because it's kind of disgusting. So yeah, it's actually the eardrum that blocks the water from entering into the middle ear.
Wait, like how big is the eardrum? Like
it just it's basically a sheet that covers the whole.
It should
thin
cover.
sheet.
Yeah, it's very thin.
Yeah.
Sheet. Sorry. But okay, so as for water passing through the middle ear, it is not entirely impossible because it may happen if you have a tear in the eardrum, or it's called tympanic membrane perforation.
Yeah.
So this can be caused by, when you insert a Q-tip too far into your ear, those physical trauma or extremely loud noises. So that can cause water to get into the middle ear, but generally the water mainly just hangs out in the outer ear and it just dries off naturally.
Okay. So we just need to be careful, like when we stick stuff into our ears, clear our ears,
and loud noises, I guess.
Okay.
So our body actually already knows to
protect ourselves.
Yeah. So it is. But under high pressure, like we were saying, if you are really swimming under high pressure, the water can get in because it's just a thin sheet, so it can pierce through.
Physically.
Yeah, physically, but that's really under high pressure.
So like diving levels.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so for the nose, apparently this is more so conscious. It's not really as sad.
It's different, obviously.
Okay, so most swimmers actually start out by holding their breath underwater. But we can talk about more on the techniques of that later.
Yeah.
However, we are also taught to gently breathe out when our face is submerged in water. So this results in bubbles coming out of your mouth and nose, which is why swimming instructors generally train children to exhale underwater by blowing out bubbles. I don't know if y'all remember this.
I don't remember being trained. I thought it was intuitive.
Yeah. Okay, so holding your breath, I never thought of this, but in doing my research, I found out that some people are unlucky in that they don't know how to hold their breath underwater, or it doesn't come naturally. So I think we've been doing it for so long that we don't realize that we are actually holding our breath or exhaling underwater. So, but in holding your breath, it's quite important that you hold your breath the right way. So in unlucky people, they are actually unable to plug their nasal passage. So the nasal passage is just the air cavity inside your nose.
Yeah.
And thus the difference in the pressure outside in the water and inside in your body is forcing the water to go up your nose. So if the water does go up your nose, then you can swallow or inhale it. And that's the primary cause of drowning.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, exactly.
So apparently, you can just plug your nasal air passage using the soft palate. So the soft palate is most well known for separating the nasal cavity from your throat. So for example, when you're swallowing, so that so that's the muscle. Okay, so the soft palate is movable, and when it's closed in swimming, it separates the nasal cavity from your oral cavity. So the air only flows through your mouth, which you can control by opening and closing your mouth.
Okay.
So that's how we stop water from going into our noses. We are actually
Voluntary? Voluntarily?
Yeah.
But it's like we're so used to it that it's almost like it's involuntary.
I was a bit mind blown because they actually have exercises on how you plug your nasal cavity. Yeah, which I mean I didn't really read because I don't do that, but we are so privileged in that.
So we are
the lucky
blessed
Yeah,
to be able to do
apparently.
it. Huh.
Because in all my Googling,
Yeah.
there's also things like, okay, so there's exercises for you to plug your nasal cavity. So they train you to do it voluntarily.
Yeah.
But there's also nose plugs that you can
yeah.
stick into your nose so that it plugs your nasal cavity.
Yeah. Synchronized swimmers do that, right?
Yeah. And also people who swim backstroke, apparently it helps.
Oh.
Yeah. Oh my goodness, I was slightly mind blown.
We are so privileged.
Yeah, I just always thought it was pressure just blocking it, but it's a combination of a physical barrier and our body doing the work in the case of your nose. Okay, so moving on to our next question is, do we sweat in water?
Is this the last question?
Yep.
Alright. So, do we sweat in water? The answer is still an obvious yes. Who voted no?
I don't know. I can't remember. I think...
We were shocked, but we didn't say no.
Okay,
Yeah.
so we were right to a certain extent where I remembered someone was saying that we might sweat less. We were right about that. So, basically because, and we were right again, that the colder water temperature would help us to cool our body down, and therefore we don't need to sweat as much as if you're exercising on land. But there are other signs that we are sweating other than you don't physically feel your sweat, but like you will realize that you are sweating also cause of exhaustion, like you're breathing more heavily. And I mean on land, when you breathe more heavily, you would be sweating as well. So it's just a natural body reaction, like when you are exercising, when you are releasing heat, your body uses like these mechanisms to lose the heat that you're accumulating. And another interesting observation is probably if you wear waterproof swimming caps and you go into the water with your hair dry, you realize that after that your head becomes wet. Right? So that's an obvious sign that your head is sweating.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
I just didn't think of that, but like...
I never thought of that.
I never thought of it. Yeah.
Yeah. And okay, the last one is like an experiment that people have conducted. So studies done by Australian Institute of Sport found that like if you when you swim about a kilometer, you lose about 1.25 mil of is it mil? I can't remember if I recorded that correctly, but basically there's volume lost from your body in terms of like weight loss. And then maybe it's 1.25 liters.
Liters? That's a lot.
Liter would be 1 kg, right?
Yeah.
Maybe I should check the link again. But basically there's volume lost from your body. And also another study from like Loughborough University found that you lose like about 800 ml of water for 100 minutes of workout in the pool. So that's interesting. And one scientific paper actually like looked at your sweat rate and electrolyte rate. So sweat rate just in terms of like volume of sweat, and electrolyte is like what comprises your sweat of. So like what your sweat comprises of, like mainly sodium and chloride. So which we know as salt, right? So they found that like the volume of sweat in swimmers compared to runners, like land people, is much less.
Sea people, like Aquaman.
Oh my god.
I mean, yeah, we're talking about humans here. They sweat less in terms of volume, and I think they did this like using some patch that absorbs water. So it's quite a clever technology. But as for the electrolyte concentrations, they found that swimmers had higher amount of sodium and chloride in their sweat or like being released in runners. So I guess it's like intuitive cause you sweat less in terms of volume and your sweat might be more concentrated or you might be more efficient in getting rid of these salts and stuff when you're sweating that you just produce a higher amount when you're swimming.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I mean, it's quite clever experiment.
There were way smarter experiments than I thought.
Yeah.
I
What
could
did
come
you
up
think of?
I was thinking use very pure water that made the experiment pee, shower in very pure water, and then throw them into the thing and wait for.
See whether it becomes dirty.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was thinking of like kind of the same thing, like measure the salt content of the water after that.
Yeah.
But actually, like when you talk about swimming pools, when you sweat, the pools don't actually get much saltier because the amount of salt you produce is so much lesser than like what's in the water, and the amount of chloride produced is also like negligible compared to the amount of chlorine in the water.
Yeah.
So I mean, pure water might work,
Pure
but
water,
like
yeah.
swimming pool water might not work.
Yeah.
Wow, I learned so much through this whole thing.
Yeah, it was so fun researching.
Yeah. Anyway, thanks guys for listening to our podcast.
Yeah.
And we hope to have you in the next one.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.